Have you ever watched someone you care about slowly go quiet over time? Someone who used to share their thoughts, argue for what mattered, and try to make things better. And then one day they just stopped trying. Many people mistake this sudden quiet for peace, maturity, or agreement. But the real reason is often much more painful, hidden just beneath the surface. This silence is not peace. It is the quiet of an empty battlefield where they realized they were fighting all alone. This quiet withdrawal is what psychologists often describe as an emotional retreat. It's the moment a person's mind decides it is safer to disappear emotionally than to keep trying to be heard. This is not a sign of weakness, but an intelligent, powerful act of self-preservation. In this video, we'll walk through the hidden journey that leads a thoughtful person to build this wall of silence. By understanding the why, you might just find the validation you've been searching for. This journey almost never begins with silence. In fact, it starts with the complete opposite and is built on a long history of unseen emotional effort. It begins with them bravely sharing their feelings, their thoughts, and their needs. They might offer a gentle truth, saying something like, "I felt hurt when that happened." But time and time again, this vulnerability is met with a wall of dismissal or judgment. They hear phrases designed to shut them down, like, "You're just being too sensitive," or "Why do you always make things so dramatic?" Each time they open up, they're handed a reason to regret it. Their feelings are not only ignored, but often used against them later. And so, a painful but logical pattern is learned. The lesson is that their authentic voice doesn't lead to connection, it leads to punishment. So they start to speak less, and then even less. Eventually, after one too many painful attempts, a person reaches their breaking point. This is where the mind instinctively switches from trying to connect to simply trying to survive. As the writer and Nobel laureate Elie Wiesel famously said, "The opposite of love is not hate, it's indifference." A person doesn't go silent because they suddenly hate you, because that would still require energy. They go silent because they care too much to keep getting hurt by the fight for connection. Indifference becomes their only available shield. They quietly quit the unpaid, unappreciated job of holding the relationship together emotionally. It becomes safer to disappear while remaining physically present in the room. So they begin to build a wall, brick by brick, not out of anger, but out of sheer emotional exhaustion. They are saving what little energy they have left for themselves. And here lies the deep, quiet tragedy of it all. The silence is almost always misinterpreted. From the outside, this new quiet can look like a welcome change. The other person often thinks, "Finally, there's no more drama," or "I'm glad they've finally matured." They see an absence of arguing and mistake it for harmony. But from inside the wall, the experience is the complete opposite of peace. For the person who has gone silent, this is the quiet of surrender. It is the hollow feeling of a soldier who realizes they were the only one who even knew a war for connection was being fought. One person is celebrating the quiet, while the other is silently grieving the relationship they had to let go of. If you recognize yourself as the person inside this wall, please hear this. Your silence is not a character flaw, and it is not a failure. It is a shield you intelligently built to protect a beautiful, feeling heart from being shattered. It is a scar from a battle you fought with courage and for far too long. The first step toward healing is not to force yourself to speak to others again. It is to finally speak the truth to yourself and validate your own experience. It is to offer yourself the deep compassion you were so desperately seeking from the outside world. If these stories help you feel understood, consider subscribing to see more. This journey from open vulnerability to protective silence is ultimately a story of survival. Your deep capacity to feel is not a burden, but a gift that simply requires a safe environment to flourish. Understanding why you had to build a wall is the first step to healing the wounds that made it necessary. You now have the language to reframe your own story, not as one of weakness, but of resilience. This self-awareness is your power. It is the key to deciding where and with whom you will choose to share your voice next. Thank you for being part of the Brainwave Stories community. If this felt familiar, know that your story matters and you are not alone.